And now let's talk of a story that a lot of you have been discussing, that is this what the Karnataka government really promised? Is this the Khatakhat Sarkar that Rahul Gandhi was speaking about? Now, Karnataka is no stranger when it comes to water wars. You've seen plenty of them, and also a lot of wars. But this time, what is troubling the Kannadigas is not nature's fury, but this is the Sarkar and the way it is treating the Aam Aadmi. The State Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar has hinted now at the possibility of increasing the monthly water charges, because he says that the Bengaluru water supply and the Sewerage board is running under financial losses. They do not have money. They cannot even pay salaries to the officials. He also is trying to justify this, preempting that there is going to be a lot of chorus of the Aam Aadmi asking that is this what we deserved, and the BJP also up in arms. So D.K. Shivakumar says that these prices haven't gone up in the last 14 years. So he's saying because that has not happened and there is no option now but to hike them now. Now, this announcement, remember, is just coming days after you had the state government in the state that hiked fuel charges by ₹3. And naturally, then there was a massive outpouring of anger, and people said this could have a cascading impact on a lot of other things that we need to buy and we need to procure. So today, while DKS has reiterated the quote-unquote compulsions, you have the Chief Minister also saying that there is no such proposal on the table. So what's really going on, no one knows. But first up, we listen in to these two important reactions coming in.
Last 10 years, the water tariff in Bangalore has not been increased. It is suffering a great loss. We have to take new projects. No bank is coming forward to finance. So every year we are having a big loss. So there is no option.
There is no proposal as of now. There is no proposal as of now.
So even as the Chief Minister says that he may not have received any proposals so far on the issue, but the Aam Aadmi is already at the receiving end of a series of these price hikes that you've seen since it's the Congress government that came to power in Karnataka. You've known about the stamp duty, the vehicle registration fees that has already gone up. Now, after the recent hike in petrol and diesel prices, also if you travel in the state transport buses, that could also become costly because most of these buses are run on diesel. So the BJP says that this is the reality of the Congress government and all their poll rhetoric. And they say that this is the Congress passing on the burden to the middle class because they do not have money to fulfill these guarantees. Now, do remember the allocation for the 5 pre-poll guarantee schemes this year is of 52,000 crore. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is roughly about 16% of the total targeted expenditure for this year.
The only guarantee which Congress has given to the state of Karnataka is everything has been hiked. The obligatory duty of the BWSSB is to supply water. They are not able to supply. It's once in a week. Some places there is 15 days of supply in some places.
पूरे देश में ये लोग महंगाई 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 करके प्रोपेगेंडा करते हैं और अपने राज्यों में पेट्रोल, डीजल, पीने का पानी, दूध सब पर दाम बढ़ाते हैं. बिजली पर दाम बढ़ा दिया. हिमाचल में भी यही किया. ये दिखाता है कि कैसे अपने वादे पूरे तो करना दूर रहा, 1-1 लाख रुपए उन महिलाओं को देना तो दूर रहा, पर कॉमन मैन, किसान, गरीब आदमी की जेब से पैसा कैसे लूटना है.
And on your screens, I must tell you, we are flashing our numbers. You can call on those numbers and not just speak to us, air your view, but also to our panel of guests that is joining us. That is representing the netas. You know, these are netas who come to our doorstep when it's election time. They make a lot of promises. But what happens to those promises at the end of the election is what I think we all want to know. We have R.P. Singh Saab, the national spokesperson of the BJP on the show. Kailash Adhikari is MD of Governance now joining us. T.R. Prasad Gowda is a leader of the Congress on the show. And George Kurian is also a political analyst. He's completing our panel. And before we take our callers, R.P. Singh Saab and Mr. Gowda, I want to ask Kailash, you know, to begin with his opening comment on whether this now is the new normal, Kailash. You know, has the Congress realized that there is a difference between a lot of that campaign rhetoric where it spoke about the Aam Aadmi, the price rise, unemployment, inflation, and governance reality?
You know, you're absolutely right. This is the new normal under the Congress rule. You know, the issue is in order to grab the votes and in order to unjudiciously grab the votes. The kind of freebies that the Congress and the major partners of the India Alliance promises, free electricity, free ration, they do not understand the kind of impact that will have on the exchequer of the state. Like you mentioned about the fact that 16% of the entire expenditure now is going in freebies. Now, where will that 16% come from? The only income that the state has is in the form of taxes on various commodities. It could be land, property, fuel, water, etc., etc., etc. So basically, it's about the taxes.
Okay.
Now, to compensate for that 58,000 crore, the kind of price rise that you need to do, because at the end of the day, you'll have coffers in the bank account.
Okay.
So what happens is that in order to fulfill your freebies and in order to just get the votes during the poll season, you do not have a foresight of the next 5 years.
Okay, so Kailash, if I've understood you wrong, you're also saying that they did not plan for this, maybe. So Mr. Gowda, why don't you tell us one thing, that what a lot of our viewers have been asking, that is this why they elected a Congress government in Karnataka? You spoke about the guarantees. It's your duty to fulfill them, not to burden the middle class because of those guarantees.
Yeah, madam, we have no idea of, burdening the common man. And of course, we have implemented all the 5 guarantees, and this will continue for full 5 years of our term.
But you say you don't have the money to do that, sir.
This
and that is the reason why you have hiked the fuel prices, and now we are learning that the water tariff could also be hiked.
Please listen to me. I am here to answer your question. And this price hike we have done. This will happen because of the administrative level. Because there is BJP is alleging that we don't have money to run the government. That is why we are increasing the price. It is absolutely wrong. See, if central government, BJP-led central government released our GST in time, still they are due to Karnataka thousands of crores of GST money to Karnataka. They are owing it still. Instead of paying that GST money, legally we have to get it. Thousands of crores. They have released only about 3,000 crores when we gone to Supreme Court. They still have to pay another 18,000 crore rupee to Karnataka.
Okay, Mr. Gowda, it's an interesting position that you're taking. I mean, I'm just coming here because I want everyone to have their quick points, and also a lot of our callers already calling into our newsrooms. We have both Sudhindra and Suresh joining us from Bengaluru, and gentlemen, with both your permission, I quickly want to get RP Singh to respond to this. RP Singh, sir, it's only because of you that the Congress government in Karnataka is forced to hike the fuel prices and the water tariff prices. So you are the villain. You are to be blamed.
Hello?
RP Singh ji, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me loud and clear? Am I loud and clear now?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Go on, Mr. Singh.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear, sir.
Okay. So there's an easy way out, because they make tall promises worth thousands of crore rupees, and then when it comes to fulfilling, to win elections, and unjustifiably to win elections, they even this parliamentary elections, they made tall promises of giving 1 lakh rupee to every woman, and then now women are reaching to their offices for those promises to be fulfilled by the government, wherever the Congress party is. So similarly, they made tall promises in states also, even in Himachal, even in Karnataka for that regard, to win elections. In Himachal, they said they will buy the crops, the fruit crop,
as prices decided by the farmer. They are blaming you. They are saying because the centre is not releasing the state's, share of the taxes, that is why they are forced to do this.
I'm answering that. He said they went to the court, they got the order from the court, and then they could have got the order from the court for the rest of the money also. But fact is that if they don't fulfill the condition of the GST, then obviously the money gets delayed. But that point aside, the government was also running earlier also in the similar pattern when BJP was leading the government.
Okay.
Now, why they have to increase the price of petrol and diesel? When give it in one pocket and you cut it from the other pocket.
Okay.
I mean, it's ultimately the common man who's to suffer.
Absolutely, the common man is suffering.
And also,
even as you look at this political blame game. George, just bear with me for a second because I quickly want to get both Sudhindra and Suresh. Sudhindra, can you hear us? You're calling us from Bengaluru.
Deepti.
Yes, go on. Make your point, please.
Yeah, hi. Good evening to Deepti and the panelists. I mean, I don't understand why this is coming up as a surprise. The moment the results were announced and the promises and the guarantees were made, these things were bound to happen. I mean, I think this is just a start. There should be more things to come.
And do you welcome this? Do you welcome this, or you want to ask questions to your netas?
I mean, absolutely not. I mean, raising prices in this way in such a short time, this is distress.
Okay.
Not called for.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Sudhindra, for calling us. You say this is distress. Suresh, good evening. What would you want to say?
Good evening. See, my point here actually is, both the center and state should act together to ensure that, more money is available for consumption. If you look at every budget that comes, the taxes are not reduced. The taxes are so less reduced that we don't have much to buy. The buying power has decreased.
Yes.
So it is not just only, that, see, we are all trying to catch the tail end of the dog, We don't correct ourselves. Every budget, I find that, that the tax is reduced to very marginally. See, what prevents from the government, whichever is ruling, should give more money for that at the hands of the people, so that these things of humps, road humps, like increase in petrol, can be taken care of.
Absolutely.
That's my point.
Absolutely, Suresh. You make a good point, and thank you for calling us. On the bottom of our screens, remember, you will have these numbers flashing. We are taking your calls live. We are asking your questions to the netas here on the panel, and we want to know that who's responsible for this distress. George, just one more, caller I want to take. Sandeep is calling us from the national capital. Sandeep, interesting. You're calling us from Delhi. This is a story that I think resonates with a lot of us, that netas make a lot of tall promises. Election ho jata hai, sab bhul jata hai, and we ultimately need to pay for those promises. Sandeep.
Hello. Good evening, madam, to you and to all the panelists. This is here to stay. This is the new way of doing politics in India, introduced by Mr. Kejriwal and now latched on to by the desperate Congress to get back to the power. They have made such unrealistic promises like thak, 1 lakh, and a host of other things, and now they are doing this zulm on the public of India by first making the petrol costly, diesel costly, and now they're this tariff on the water. This is not acceptable, and the people must realize that the party which promises you freebies, as Kejriwal ji does, and as Congress is starting doing this, they are dangerous for this country. They will lead us to nowhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you for calling. As they say, there are no free lunches. George, how would you respond to at least these 3 callers that we've, just taken so far? Our caller lines are buzzing, George, and this really tells you people see through this, George. And he also said, zulm ho raha hai janta par.
Deepti, good evening to your audience, and I respect the views that has come from the callers. Having said that, I also understand the fact that, this is a topic that the channel has raised today to corner the Congress party. We also need to understand, you cannot ignore the fact that the Congress party in Karnataka, led by the Congress party, the government has been doing exceptionally good work with respect to EWS section of the society with our social welfare schemes. Having said that, we all understand that the Bangalore Water Supply and Sewerage Board has been going, under financial losses. And to ensure that, the board requires financing from banks, there is a, certain amount of money, or as the Deputy Chief Minister has said, at least to the break-even point, for the board to ensure that they are getting the finances from the banks. So,
George,
Congress party will be reasonable.
But George, see, ultimately, when you have netas who promise big things, you should have a plan to ensure that you get money for that also, no? You're telling me this tariff hasn't been hiked for the last 10 years, much of what DK Shivakumar said, but ultimately you need to take that call. You only spoke about price rise, about inflation, about the Aam Aadmi during the run-up to the elections, no? So you need to remember those promises. I'm told B.N. Prasad is also joining us, and he's calling us from Mysuru this evening. Mr. Prasad, good evening, sir. What would you want to say?
Good evening to all the panelists. I'm a civil engineer retired,
And I have a feeling that largely the costs are related to lack of efficiency in many departments. If only the government takes the same kind of interest in tightening up various screws within the departments, money availability for public services are in plenty in all the departments. I can challenge that. Being a civil engineer, I know for a fact that every department can generate a lot of money, and if at all used properly in an efficient manner, a lot of work can be done and the cost need not go up. For example, if every department indulges itself in mafia and looting of the money without any control over the expenditure, where audit procedures are lacking, definitely there is going to be, lack of funds in various departments. And this is one such. For example, I am a highway engineer. I am a designer and project management consultant. Basically, I write a lot of articles in Star of Mysore locally here. And I have brought to the notice of all the public, including that includes government also, about the procedures that need to be adopted for strict
I think,
implementation.
yes, Mr. Prasad, you make a lot of important points. Apologies, I'm just cutting you short because I want to include more callers, more voices here. But I think you make a good point about leakages, pilferages. On the other side, we let the Congress and the BJP and our citizen voices speak up. Do not go anywhere. The numbers flashing on your screens tell us what you think when we come back. Welcome back. So we've been discussing whether the burden of fulfilling the guarantees that were made by the Congress in the run-up to the elections in Karnataka has now fallen on the Aam Aadmi, and that's the reason why Khatakhat, like the BJP alleges, prices बढ़ रहे हैं. We continue to have a panel with us who've been very patiently listening to a lot of callers also, remember, who've called in. RP Singh Saab, Kailash Adhikari, Mr. Gowda and George Kurian. And we also, in fact, do have a lot of these callers, Giridharji, Bhaskarar, Mulidhar, Arun, but only for want of time. And I want to take some quick accountability, 30 seconds to all gentlemen perhaps. Mr. Gowda, you must have heard the people. People want answers, people want accountability. Sir, will you continue to believe that you can continue to rise the prices of things and it does not matter?
Yeah, we are not here to hike the prices and burden. We are the last people to burden the common people. Only issue is here is we have to get the thousands of crores GST from the central government.
But sir, that is the problem between you and RP Singh Saab. No, why should the Aam Aadmi suffer? RP Singh Saab, at least you can be considerate. The centre can be considerate. The state says we want money.
As we trade, I mean, this is not something new. It has been it's a process which GST money goes back to the state. They have to fulfill all conditions, fulfill process and conditions, and get paid. But that point aside. But why then make promises? I mean, you know that condition is such that the money will take time for you to go back.
Okay, you say why make promises? George, take your 10 seconds.
Money from the central government.
George,
we have to get money.
Dipti, we have been fulfilling all the promises that the Congress party has made before the assembly election. We will also ensure that we'll evaluate the situation and ensure that we don't put any additional burden on the people and the consumers. And take appropriate call on this one.
Okay, I don't know how that will happen, Kailash. Your last 10 seconds, then we close the show.
We all know that democracy is for the people, of the people, and by the people. And what you are seeing in a constant price rise, be it fuel or water, stamp duty, or even in the engineering colleges, is that it is nothing but a result of glaring inefficiencies on the part of the Karnataka government to implement effective and efficient water management strategies.
All right, but the Janta is watching. Janta is watching, and we'll be relentless in that coverage and asking those questions that matter to the Janta. I thank all our panelists and all our viewers also who called in as we continue to track that story. Time for us to head into a break.